What it do, YouTube? It's Ty Fetty with the Fetty, back at y'all with another banger, man. Y'all know why we here. To handle business, man. Before the video start, bruh, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Especially if you've been on this channel before, bro. I'm going to say it again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to say it one more. Matter of fact, like, comment, subscribe. Before I gotta beat you up, y'all know what's going on, man. Look, hey, look. We taking it on kind of my side of the, Murderland Mafia Pyru, Baltimore's most dangerous set. I'm from Maryland, but I ain't from Baltimore. If you know, you know. Baltimore and where I'm from is like two different states, bro. Baltimore is like its own state. It's in Maryland, but it's its own state, bro. They got different swag, different lingo, different, like, food. Like, it's just a difference, bro. It's kind of a big difference. It's a culture change, bro, for real. Like, they dress different, we dress different. They talk different, we talk different, bro. They got an accent, we got an accent. Like, it's just different. But we in the same state, bro. We like an hour away, bro. It's two different, like, it look different. It smell different. Everything just different. Now, granted, like I said, where I'm from is no gangs. It's no gangs at all. But in Baltimore, they got gangs. It's a difference. I'm telling y'all, they have gangs in Baltimore. We about to tap in, man. Let's see what they talking about. Shout out to Yo, man.
Back to another episode.
I'm on the avenue.
A very mysterious place.
Feel me?
This is probably one of the wildest stories I've ever told. But before we get into
telling y'all, it get real crunchy out.
You can also follow
it get real crunchy over here, man.
Well. So let's get into it. Every year, the media release.
Oh yeah, by the way, just a small fact, real quick. Like, so DC and Baltimore is kind of like. Not gonna say Crips and Bloods because it's not on that magnitude, bro. But it's, if you from where I'm from, you think you better than Baltimore, and if you from Baltimore, you think you better than PG County, DC, whatever the case may be. You feel me? If somebody go out DC from Baltimore and somebody from Baltimore find out they from DC, they're gonna treat them different, and vice versa, bro. That's how I go.
Releases the top 10 most dangerous cities. And for those of us who pay attention, we notice that 5 cities always make the list: New Orleans, Detroit, Philadelphia, St. Louis, and most importantly, Baltimore. However, unlike these other cities, Baltimore is somewhat unknown on a larger scale. Yes, of course, everyone knows the Baltimore Ravens, but that's about it. But I'm here to tell you that Baltimore is a very dark place.
It looks just like that, bro.
City that makes yours look like paradise.
Everywhere. There's no cap.
First explain how things got this way. Once upon a time, Baltimore was a wealthy city with plenty of great jobs. It even attracted 1 million residents by 1960, but that's when everything began falling apart. Many of us know the story of redlining, school funding, white flight, and the destruction they caused. This happened all over America, but nowhere was hit worse than Baltimore, Maryland. During the 1970s, over 30% of Baltimore's population left for the suburbs. It was already an unpleasant looking city, but now it was abandoned and run down. And from here, things only got worse and worse, to the point where Baltimore led the nation in crime in 1977. In the 1980s, Baltimore and Los Angeles got connected on a business level, if you know what I mean. Guys from South Central and Compton would drive out to Baltimore and vice versa. And through this process, Los Angeles' street culture began spreading to Baltimore.
Bruh, driving from LA to Baltimore is insane, bro. That's like a 2-day trip, bro. No funny. Like, that's OD, bro. Like Maryland is on the East Coast, like literally, like it's far east you could go. LA is on the West Coast, as far west you could go, bro. That's OD. That's a crazy drive, bro. No funny. That's crazy.
By 1990, Baltimore had over 12 sets operating in the city, both red and blue.
For sure.
During this time, neighborhoods like Hopkins and Cherry Hill became the worst areas.
Cherry Hill's still the worst to this day. One of the worst, for sure.
Nowhere is truly a good area. And for this video, we focus on the northwest side of Baltimore, which is typically not seen as a bad area.
Over west.
In fact, many Baltimore residents would consider it the suburbs. The houses are bigger and the apartments are more well kept on this side of the city. But just because something glitters does not make it gold. The northwest side was home to Compton's Treetop Pyru. This is because throughout the 90s, the Treetop Pyrus formed strong relationships with the Northwest hustlers.
And look, y'all, like he just said, the house is bigger, the apartments is better, bro. It's still bad, bro. That's what I keep telling y'all about where I'm from. I kind of got to grasp that everywhere ain't like Maryland, bro. Everywhere, like, suburbs is really good. Suburbs is really the escape, bro. Over here, bro, suburbs is not an escape to nothing, bro. The same thing that happens in the churches of wherever y'all from, it happens in the suburbs of where we from, bro. Like you just said, it's there's Pyrus that operate out of the suburbs, bro. Like, I'm not capping to y'all, bro. I've been saying it. I'm not capping to y'all, bro.
So in turn,
have it your way.
much of the area became treetop territory, but because of the area they existed in, there really wasn't much beef. Instead, they developed a reputation of being the biggest hustlers in the city. This lasted for quite a few years, but then it came crashing down in 2008. 15 members were indicted and nearly every single one testified against their leader. The entire city of Baltimore was looking at Treetop like Ratatouille, so the remaining members all quit. This was officially the end of Treetop Pyrus in Baltimore. However, one particular member did not want to see it go away. This would be a man named Dante Bailey, also known as Gutta. This guy was one of the wildest Treetop members, the kind of guy that everyone feared. He built his entire life off a street reputation and he could not see it go. So he decided he would start a new section of the Pyrus, and his plan was for the solid Treetop members to join his side. On March 2nd, 2009, Dante Bailey officially started the Murderland Mafia Pyru, also known as MMP. Murderland is the nickname for Maryland, Pyru represents what used to be, and Mafia represents what Dante had in mind. Despite his street ways, Dante had a passion for film, which will later be relevant. He admired guys like Tony Montana, John Gotti, and Vito Corleone. So this is exactly how he structured MMP. He wanted his members to listen to him how they would listen to a mob boss back in the day. And with this, members could earn titles like Capo, Boss, or Underboss. He made it abundantly clear that what happened to Treetop would never happen to Murderland. In fact, his biggest fear was disloyalty behind his back. So members had to follow a very strict code that came with serious consequences. Talking behind a fellow member's back could result in discipline, and snitching, yeah, that was raps. But with this code came rewards as well, in the form of tattoos. Once an individual officially became a member, they earned an M tattoo. And once they completed a successful mission, they earned a lightning tattoo. The lightning bolt would be placed directly under their eye, and everyone knew what this meant. Well, by the summer of 2009, there were over a dozen official members. So once Dante had his squad, he needed to find a place for them to be. He ended up choosing kind of an odd location. This would be a BP gas station on Windsor Mills Road. He chose this strange location for 3 particular reasons. Number 1, he was allegedly cool with the owner of the gas station. Number 2, there are multiple low-income apartments in walking distance. And finally, the proximity to Highway 70, making for an easy escape. Well, because of MMP, the BP gas station became the hotspot of the Northwest. And through this process, MMP started stacking their money taller and taller, even to the point where a lot of members moved to nearby suburbs. In fact, Dante got himself a house in Milford Mill and a Mercedes coupe as well. The MMP production got larger and larger scale, and honestly, it was a perfect situation. Because they operated in a better part of town, they didn't have to worry about other rivals. It was all about money, money, and more money. But then, out of nowhere, Dante Bailey began getting paranoid. His biggest fears of disloyalty and informants were eating him alive. He was weary of one man in particular, a man named Antoine Poppy Ellis. Antoine was an early MMP member, one who considered himself Dante's right-hand man. But this whole time, Dante had this feeling that Antoine's energy was just off. And eventually this caused him to panic. So in November of 2012, Dante called up a member named Dontre Johnson, also known as Gambino. Gambino was a wild card, the kind of guy who would do anything that Dante asks. Well, over the phone, Dante informed Gambino about how he felt about Antoine. And of course, Gambino was ready to do anything that would make it right for his boss. November 22nd, 2012. It's a chilly Thanksgiving day in Northwest Baltimore, and Antoine Ellis gathers with his family in Franklintown. After the day, Antoine gets a call from his buddy Gambino. Gambino tells him that they need to talk and to meet him at a nearby park.
It was raps.
6 p.m. Gambino and Antoine meet up and go for a short walk. And that's when Gambino completes the unfortunate mission. This was the first incident in MMP history, and it occurred for no reason, and it would actually be significant in the direction that they would take from here on. Overall, members became extremely fearful of their leader. They now knew that one wrong move could be the end for them. But for Dante, this boosted his ego for sure, to the point where he began rapping in 2013. He put out a song called Straight Mobbin', where he brags about his mob and everything they do. Also in the video, you can see the lightning bolt under his eye. Well, this was just the start of MMP, and Dante would get more and more wild. And for some odd reason, he began getting suspicious of yet another member. This would be a man by the name of James Edwards, also known as Bang Out. He believed that James was being disloyal to him in some way, and that's all the motivation he needed. It's the same exact situation, except this time, Dante wanted to do it himself. February 12th, 2015. Dante drives from Milford Mill down to Westside, Baltimore. Here, he's set to pick up his friend James Edwards. At 3 p.m., Dante arrives and pulls up on James. As James approaches the car to get in, Dante hops out. And that's when he makes a wild decision.
Crashing.
This incident caused a tear within MMP.
Of course.
James Edwards was well liked amongst his peers, and they were definitely not happy about it.
Bro, that's crazy that he just said that, because I was just about to say, bro, that stuff like that is what causes internal affairs, bro. Like, food. Now, say they don't feel as though James was a rat or whatever. Now they about to turn on the leader, bro. Now you, like, it just don't make, like, why, bro? Like, I understand, you know, he paranoid because of the whole thing that just happened in 2008 or 2009, whenever it was. But it's like, if you're going to be that paranoid, bro, just get out the game, bro. Like, it's nothing else to say. If you're going to be that paranoid to where you knocking people off for no reason, bro, get out the game, bro. Go get a job, man. Nah, for real.
About this. On top of this, they felt a way about how Dante was handling himself, especially towards people he claimed he loved. And honestly, this made everything even worse, because now Dante was more paranoid about disloyalty.
Is this how, like, renegade BDs and stuff like that start? Like, situations like this? Let me know in the comments. Because I've been seeing y'all comments about what a renegade is and this, that, and the other, and how it forms and what it means. Is this, like, certain situations like this, how it starts? Let me know in the comments.
Some members remain loyal to Dante, and others stopped listening to what he said. And this time, one of his loyal followers began having a bad feeling about a fellow member. Gambino became weary of a member named Brian Johnson, also known as Nutty B. He believed that after Nutty B lost his friend James Edwards, he stopped listening to Dante's commands. So in September of 2015, Gambino approached Dante about his concerns. And of course, Dante immediately gave him the green light to do whatever he needed. September 29th, 2015. It's a typical day at the BP gas station on Windsor Mill Road. And that means that Nutty B is outside doing what he does. Well, at 8 p.m., Gambino pulls up to the gas station and walks up to his old friend. Bam! At this point, the entire MMP was torn apart. Members feared their leader's wild ways more than anything else in Baltimore. However, when you operate in this kind of business, you'll eventually run into opposition. In 2015, MMP's territory began spilling over into another section. The section is called Liberty Heights, and they cover the Gwynn Oak neighborhood. Well, in 2016, MMP began taking it over, and Liberty Heights was not happy. April 29th, 2016. It's a Thursday afternoon, and an MMP member named Maurice Mookie Braham is hanging out in Howard Park. At 3 p.m., Maurice walks to a local market on Gwynn Oak Avenue. This is a block that Liberty Heights has long claimed as their own. So Maurice goes into the market, grabs what he needs, and walks outside. There, a rival is standing right in front. Maurice was very close to Dante Bailey, a man who Dante could trust with anything. Well, directly after this occurred, Dante received a call from a fellow member informing him of what happened. Dante was furious and instantly took action. 5:45 p.m. Dante Bailey gets in his Mercedes and heads down to Gwynn Oak. He drives around the Liberty Heights territory for 15 minutes until he runs into a man who he believes is responsible. He's only a block away from where the incident occurred, so he assumes that it has to be him. So Dante gets out of his Mercedes and walks up to the man. It turns out that Anthony Horns in fact was not responsible for what happened to Mookie.
Of course.
Well, after doing this, Dante picked up a very strange hobby. He began writing a screenplay about Murderland Mafia Pyru. The screenplay was non-fiction, so it recounted every single thing that they had done. He wrote this to show that he was the godfather of Baltimore.
Y'all already know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna just pause it and just let everybody sum up what's going on here. The streets is finished, man. Get out while you can if you enter. I'm telling you.
Doing whatever he wanted, and to this point he hadn't been caught for anything, and neither had any MMP members. This is mostly because of how dysfunctional Baltimore is, but it's also because of Dante's cleverness. Dante figured that because no one in MMP would ever tell on him, that he would never get caught. So to maintain this status, he was always looking out for potential snakes. Well, about 4 months after the last incident, Dante began getting suspicious of yet another member, a member by the name of Ricardo Johnson. Not only did Dante believe Ricardo was telling, but other members did as well. So in August of 2016, Dante ordered a member named Sidney Frazier to handle business. August 10th, 2016, Sidney gets on his dirt bike and heads to Ricardo's apartment in Harlem Park. There, he meets up with another member in a white minivan. The two members wait outside his house until Ricardo comes home. When he arrives, they demand that he gets in the back of the van. Then the driver takes them to an empty railroad in West Baltimore. The driver pushes Ricardo out of the car while Sidney arrives on his motorbike, and that's when Sidney makes his decision.
Well, they not even getting knocked off, bro. They knocking each other off, bro.
Sidney decides to light the van on fire. This was a terrible decision because the trail of smoke could be seen from around the city. By the time Sidney gets back on his bike, Baltimore police are already there. Somehow, Sidney's able to speed away and lose them, but along the way, he threw his possessions into a nearby bush. Well, somehow, one of the officers saw him throw it and recovered the item, and through DNA samples, police were eventually able to track him down. So a couple weeks later, police raided Sidney Frazier's home. And here is where things get interesting.
Get out the streets,
After
man.
Searching through Sidney Frazier's home, police found all kinds of interesting items. First, they found the boxes to the blowers that MMP were using. Right away, they knew that this would help with solving other incidents. And then they found something that would solve it all for them. Okay, wait, let me not get ahead of myself. Shortly after this raid, they received a warrant to search Dante Bailey. So a few days later, they went through his Milford Mill home. There, they could not find a single thing because Dante covered his tracks well. But then one of the officers decided to look through his notebooks, and what he found was an absolute pot of gold. Dante's script had every single incident since March 2nd, 2009. It recounted how they started, who were the first members, and how they made their money. And then it gave reasons for everything that Dante decided to do. From the first incident of Antoine Ellis all the way down to Ricardo Johnson, Baltimore police had one final task that would make or break everything. They needed a judge to approve the script as evidence for a case. It could either be ruled as fiction or it could be evidence to get everyone named arrested. Well, the judge approved it, and Baltimore police now had everything they needed. On June 1st, 2017, 25 MMP members were arrested in Baltimore. Over a dozen members were facing life sentences.
His main concern was people in his organization ratting, and he's the reason. Not necessarily him, but that script he was writing was the reason they all got took down. Ain't this shit crazy how this come back full circle, man?
And in the end, 4 of them told on their leader, Dante Bailey. This ultimately got him a double life sentence. His biggest fear in the world came true, but it was kind of his fault.
Come on, man. Like, I don't even, come on, bro. Like, it don't even make sense, bro. Like, why, bro? Like, bro, you doing what you doing, you gonna. Like, he has a journal, like a diary of everything he done did. No, if he don't try to write that movie, bro, who knows where he be at right now? He might be out, bro. But, you know, you live and you learn, bro. The streets is finished. I've been told y'all that, bro. Get out if you win them, bro. I'm telling you, bro. There's no point, bro. Ends in 2 ways, bro. And I ain't even gonna name them because you know what it is, man. It's Ty Fetty with the Fetty. Make sure y'all stay smart, bro. Stay dangerous. I'm gonna catch y'all next time, man. I'm gone.